Hi, this is John Anthony Francis Wilcox, and today is Saturday, February the 10th, 2024. So, let me go back a day. Yesterday morning at about 20 after 5, I woke up and I couldn't go back to sleep. I felt something was unusual. I was feeling sort of out of sorts, so I just kind of laid there and I sat up a little bit and I just couldn't sleep. And I got the call at about 10 after quarter after 6 from my sister Mary that just a little while before she called, our oldest sister Nancy died. She was 72. It was rather sudden. And it is how it is. Those of you that know me know that we haven't had a great relationship. She has been very nasty to me since about, I don't know, 1975, 76, somewhere in there. And she really hasn't talked to me outside of saying awful things about me uh, for no reason uh, since then. But that's all water under the bridge. I love my sister. I'm very sad that she died. So I was thinking about all this, and I thought, do I have any good memories I could tell you? And I actually do. So, most of the good part of our relationship was interspersed throughout my childhood, probably till I was about 13, 14, somewhere in there. But anyway, what I remember has a lot to do with music. I can vividly remember listening through her to the Janis Joplin, Big Brother and the Holding Company album with the Robert Crumb cover. That's where I first heard she got the album, the Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention album. We're only in it for the money, and I used to love that album. What else? Bob Dylan's Blonde on Blonde, the band's first album, just the band. Um, Things like Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn, and Jones Limited, the Monkees album from '67. The one with Salesman on it, and I'm trying to think. I just can't think of what was the big. There was a big hit off there. It might have been Cuddly Toy. Anyway, and others, and a vivid memory. I remember I wasn't yet 7 by a few days, so I was still 6, and I remember going to Klein's here in Westport and picking her up the album of the brand new, just released that day, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, and looking it over in the car and bringing it to her. So I remember that stuff vividly, and she and my brother used to trade albums back and forth all the time because they didn't have a good relationship either. Um, and I was sort of their go-between during those years. But I remember all the and Bowie's Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust. I first heard that through her, and something in my mind says Quadrophenia from the Who, but I'm not 100% sure. Could be, and also a concert for Bangladesh. Those come to mind. So that was all through her. She used to love listening to that stuff. And let's see, a couple of funny stories. So she was a huge Beatles fan, and she was also a huge Monkees fan. And to that end, she used to make up all these names when she would write Mickey Dolenz, who was the monkey that she had a thing for. So she'd be Nancy, she'd be Sandra, she'd be Sarah, she'd whatever. And she would send him these letters. And one day she heard back from Mickey. She got a letter, and the funny thing was, it said, "Dear Nancy, Sandra, Sarah," and he like listed off all the names. And that was just hilarious. And somewhere not long after that, I don't know how she did it, but she found his phone number. So we're talking 67, 68, and she called him, and he answered, and she screamed and dropped the phone. So for a few minutes anyway, uh, 6 or 7 year old me talked to Mickey Dolenz on the phone, and I have no memory other than being in the kitchen talking on the phone to him, but I remember doing that. So that was funny. The other funny phone thing is she was also very big on Bob Dylan around that time of, say, Blonde on Blonde and then. So 67, 68, 69, somewhere in that period, I don't know how she did it, but she got Bob Dylan's number. And she thought she'd be cool, and she called the number, and in the background she had one of his records playing, figuring he'd answer and think it was really cool. But it wasn't him. It was some woman that was with him, and I think she said something to the effect of, "Oh, I bet you thought you were being cool, having Bob's music on in the background," and I guess then like hung up or something like that. It was just very brief, but I remember that was the gist of it. Uh, so she was a real fan. I remember she wrote letters to George Harrison. That was at the time who she was writing to, and she said she had my mom do a portrait of him, and she sent that to him, and she ended up getting a letter from George's mom, which is too bad she never kept. She gave to an in-law years ago, which is a shame. It would have been nice if she passed it on to her kids, but things didn't work out that way. But anyway, it was an interesting time, and all that music truly meant a lot to her. So, and also she had a dog. When our dog Gidget had pups, she took one and she named it Damien. And I believe, if I'm correct, she was named after a character, I want to say, in the Herman Hesse book Siddhartha. Someone can correct me on that if I'm wrong. But I remember she was big into reading that book. Uh, so that's some of my memories. That's why, by the way, this video says from 4 to 3. There were 4 of us: Nancy, David, Mary, and John, and now there are 3. The world's a little bit colder. I feel very sad about all this. Um, I don't know. It's very you have a feeling of powerlessness because what could have been done? I don't know. Um, Her life, I think, was shortened by her choices that led to her not doing well and ending up at a place where her kids weren't really visiting her through different circumstances. Like her oldest, Pat, lives out in California, although thankfully he was able to come visit her a couple of weeks before she passed. And, her sons, Ryan and Timmy, have whatever their own reasons are. Um, and that's how that is. I mean, they both have families and stuff too. So my sister's gone. She leaves behind her kids and their kids. So I don't know what to say beyond that. I loved my sister, even when she didn't like me at all, and that's how life deals us things. So I'm sure everyone has some kind of family situation with some difficulties in it. I hope you all have a wonderful week. I love you, and I'll see you all next time, hopefully with some positive stuff. Take care. Bye bye. Love you.